Welcome back to part 3 of our Rumen Efficiency video series. I'm Caitlin DeVos, Ruminant Development Manager at Vitam International, and joining me is Marine Gauthier, Ruminant Technical Development Manager from Lallemand Animal Nutrition, Spain. Today, we are going to be addressing the topic of heat stress, which is a very real and relevant threat in South Africa, as our cows are exposed to high temperatures and humidity for many months throughout the year. Marine, could you elaborate on the negative impacts of heat stress on dairy cow production?
So yes, heat stress has a very strong impact in dairy cattle. What we typically see in the dairy farm is an impact on the dry matter intake that will have an impact, for example, on the milk production. So it counts approximately for 80% of the losses that we are going to observe during the heat stress. But we also have a long-term impact on the fertility that counts approximately to 20%, and an increase in somatic cell counts that can occur. And we are not mentioning also the impact that it can have on the fetus if we are talking about gestating cows. Typically, in terms of milk production, we know that when we are at a minimum of 22 degrees Celsius and 50% of humidity, we are going to lose 1.1 kilo per cow per day of milk. But of course, in the case of South Africa, I assume that you're experiencing also temperature above 30 degrees and sometimes even more than 75% of humidity. And in that case, you can expect losses of up to 4 kilos of milk per cow per day.
The short-term impact of heat stress is at least in part related to the negative impact on the rumen. Could you elaborate on how heat stress actually alters the functioning of the rumen?
So yes, basically what the animal is going to do is to search for some strategies to dissipate the heat. So for example, we will see more panting behavior. The animal is going to drool and we will lose some part of the buffer capacity here for the rumen. Of course, when the animal is going to have this panting behavior, increased respiration rate, it will lose time for rumination. This rumination sometimes is performed standing because the animals need to dissipate the heat. So of course all of that will impair my rumen function, and we will have during heat stress a higher risk of rumen acidosis with some drop of rumen pH. So you can easily understand if that it's a kind of a vicious circle, and if we don't have good strategies on farm to limitate it, we are going to see very big losses in production as we previously said.
Marine, what are some practical, easy to implement tips on farm that you can give our audience to try and help manage heat stress?
Well, first of all, I think the first critical point is to have a cool air. And a cool air, it's not only about temperature, but it's also having a very nice ventilation 24/7 inside the barn. So of course it's passed through farm design, but in case that we want to implement new strategies, we can have, for example, some new cooler systems and fans that can be installed inside the farm. Then in terms of feeding management, of course it would be a nice idea to give the feed to the animals at the cooler hours of the day, and to actually limitate the irregular intake. We can give them in more times that we used to do, so we can actually limitate the risk of acidosis during this time. Of course, in farm, it's very important to have shade, so it's participated actually to cool air. But to limit also the radiation, we can have some strategies on the roof of the farm, of the barn. And we don't have to forget, of course, all the handling of the animals during the cooler hour. So the animals really need to be still on the moment of the time that are the most hot. And of course the water, good quality of water, very fresh. So the diet needs also to be fresh. And in terms of water, please don't forget the dry cows and the fresh cows, especially if you have them outside. They are also it's also very important to take care about these cows. And we have to mention that some additives such as Levusel SE is also having a very nice effect inside the rumen, so it could be particularly interesting to control our rumen pH during these heat stress challenges.
Marine, in pasture-based systems, there's obviously a limitation. We can't really modify the environmental conditions to try and cool the cows down. So often we have cows experiencing heat stress as we enter spring, when they're also consuming pastures that are low in fibre. As a result, we tend to see a crash in butterfat at this time. Could Levusel SC be beneficial during this time to try and help maintain butterfat levels?
Yeah, actually, Levusel SC is a very interesting tool in terms of fiber degradation potential, and as we said before, also controlling the rumen pH that will also have an impact on my fibrolytic bacteria and so on the digestibility of NDF. Particularly in a recent trial that we have done during heat stress in the University of Florida, we have actually seen that during heat stress we increased the feed efficiency of about 7%. The milk production was also improved by more than 1 kilo during this heat stress challenge, and also the butterfat. So I think it's a very nice strategy also during the heat stress. And if we are talking about grazing in general, we have also very nice result with the Levusel SE on the increase of the milk butterfat linked to an improve of actually fiber degradation inside the rumen.
Thank you, Marine. Join us next time for the final installment in our rumen efficiency series, where we will delve deeper into the mode of action behind Levusel SC.